Okay, students, it is seen that the comparative study of magnetic materials, as there are three types of magnetic materials: dia, para, and ferro. Comparatively, we studied them, dia, para, and ferro, based on their properties and behavior, how they will behave on subjecting them to the external magnetic field, and we classified them into three types: dia, para, and ferro. Now, let us discuss this hysteresis. Hysteresis in comparative study, in that table, we mentioned this point of hysteresis of all the three materials of diamagnetic, of paramagnetic, and of ferromagnetic materials. I think if you come across that table, there in that table, I think 9th or 10th comparison, there it is discussed that B vector shows hysteresis for paramagnetic and ferromagnetic materials, and B vector does not show by by diamagnetic materials. Diamagnetic materials will not show B vector, whereas para and ferromagnetic materials show hysteresis B vector. What actually does mean by hysteresis? Don't go according to the term-wise meaning, hysteresis, but for 1 mark, 2 mark, if it is asked hysteresis graph or hysteresis curve, that is a curve or a graph obtained by plotting B vector versus H vector. There the B vector means magnetic induction and H vector means magnetizing field intensity. B is magnetic induction or net magnetic field, and H is magnetizing field intensity. The graph obtained or curve obtained by plotting B versus H is called as a hysteresis curve or hysteresis graph. Here in this coordinate system, along y-axis, if B vector is taken, B vector means magnetic induction, or even we can take intensity of a magnetization, M vector, along the y-axis, magnetic induction or intensity of a magnetization. On taking this along the y-axis and magnetizing field intensity along the x-axis, if a graph is plotted, that graph or curve which is obtained by plotting B versus H is called as a hysteresis graph or hysteresis curve. Magnetic induction or a net magnetic field is measured in terms of a Tesla. That already we know SI unit of magnetic induction, that is in terms of a Tesla. Magnetizing field intensity, that is expressed in terms of ampere per meter. Ampere per meter. Unit of magnetic induction and a unit of magnetizing field intensity. Here in this magnetic induction along y-axis, I take that in terms of a Tesla by choosing some scale, 0.5 Tesla, 1 Tesla, 1.5 Tesla, 2 Tesla, up to 2 Tesla. Along x-axis, magnetizing field intensity, that in terms of ampere per meter. Here that is taken in terms of ampere per meter. 100 ampere per meter, 200 ampere per meter, 100 ampere per meter, 200 ampere per meter. Along y-axis magnetic induction 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2 Tesla. This is the origin. See what we are studying here on plotting this graph. Let me tell you, we are subjecting ferromagnetic material to an external magnetic field. We are subjecting that ferromagnetic material such as iron, nickel or a cobalt to magnetize that material. To magnetize that ferromagnetic material, if you subject that ferromagnetic material to an external magnetic field, how will it respond? Its response is studied on subjecting that ferromagnetic material to an external magnetic field. If you want to magnetize that iron, actually generally if we talk the rough method, how can we magnetize the iron? While playing when you were a children, you might have experienced that experience. What people will do, children, you just if you rub that iron with the magnet, or if you keep that iron in touch with the magnet for a long time, after some long time, there it can be seen. The iron which is kept in contact with the magnet, slowly, gradually, it gets converted into magnet. Then it also starts to behave like a magnet. Earlier, which was a magnet, which was iron. Later, on keeping that in touch with the magnet for a long time, then that also starts to attract other iron filings. It means that iron now is converted into magnet. That is nothing but the magnetization. See, that is a rough method. You can keep that in touch with the magnet, or you can rub that iron with the magnet in one particular direction, in the same direction. By doing so, what we are doing there, we are making those atoms and molecules in the ferromagnetic materials to align themselves in a particular direction. Just by rubbing that iron with the magnet, we are making those iron atoms or iron molecules to align themselves in a one particular direction. By doing so, we are making the domains to grow. We are increasing the sizes of a domain. I already told you in last class, domain is a collection of atoms in a particular size of the ferromagnetic materials. The growth of that domain is called as a increasing domain. The atoms and molecules which are in the particular volume or particular size, they all which are like-minded. Some atoms will be oriented in this direction in that iron specimen. Some atoms will be in this direction, in this orientation. And they all like-minded atoms or molecules are forming one group. And that group of atoms or molecules which are oriented in a one particular direction are called as a domain. And actually magnetic dipole moment, we are making the magnetic dipole moment of like atoms or like molecules to orient in a one particular direction, that too by subjecting that ferromagnetic material to an external field. That what I told example, by rubbing iron with the magnet, it looks awkward if I say that process. What children is supposed to play with that, but scientifically we are studying. Now, if we want to magnetize ferromagnetic materials, what can we do to magnetize the ferromagnetic materials? That ferromagnetic material, suppose iron bar or iron rod, that has to be kept inside the current carrying solenoid. This is how the way we can magnetize the ferromagnetic material scientifically. Just by inserting a iron rod or iron specimen inside the current carrying solenoid, you can magnetize this iron. ferromagnetic material. To magnetize that, what is needed to be done? Just to insert that iron specimen or iron rod inside the current carrying solenoid. Current carrying solenoid means that solenoid we know a hollow long cylinder of a great length, whereas its radius appears to be very small on comparing with its length, and that current carrying solenoid also acts like a bar magnet by having two poles north and south. When you send the current through all the turns of the solenoid, then it is also able to establish its own magnetic field by possessing two poles north and south, that already we have seen. Okay, here the magnetizing, this is the magnetizing field. The field, whatever is established inside the current carrying solenoid, we call it as a magnetizing field. That field only is responsible, which is used to magnetize this ferromagnetic material which is kept inside the solenoid. The field established inside the solenoid is responsible to magnetize this iron. And what is its intensity? What intensive? To what extent that intensity of the magnetizing field is present inside the solenoid? Its intensity. How intensive that established field is there inside the solenoid which can magnetize this iron. Its intensity is given in terms of ampere per meter. The magnetizing field intensity, where do we observe that? Inside the current carrying solenoid. That is the H in terms of ampere per meter. This is the magnetizing field intensity, the field established inside the solenoid. Now, once if the field is established inside the solenoid, that established field, what it does? It slowly makes all these iron molecules or iron atoms which are actually inside the specimen in terms of a domain. See, small volume I am taking here, in which all the atoms of iron will be in one particular direction. That's why I told them as a like-minded atoms or like-minded molecules. All are randomly oriented. If you take a particular domain, in that domain all atoms will be in one particular direction. But there won't be like orientation between two or more domains. In one domain, all the molecules might be in this direction. In another domain, all the molecules might be oriented in another direction, so that the net magnetic dipole moment of that specimen when you take, that will be 0. The net magnetic dipole moment of that entire specimen will be 0. But when you take a particular domain, in that domain all molecules or atoms appear to be in one particular direction. But of that specimen, entire volume when you take, that net magnetic dipole moment of the iron will be 0. Now on subjecting such iron into this current carrying solenoid, what we are doing? We are making all these atoms and molecules to orient in a one particular direction. When all they start to orient in a one particular direction, in the direction of the applied field, then that iron slowly can get converted into magnet because of orientation of all the molecules in a one particular direction. And that is done by subjecting that iron to this external magnetic field. Okay, now the magnetizing field intensity H inside the current carrying solenoid, that magnetic field is given by P naught is equal to mu naught H. This already we discussed when we were discussing about terms, important terms related with the magnetism. This is the field established inside the solenoid, and this established field is making this iron also to get converted into magnet. Once if this iron also started to get converted into magnet, then it also is able to establish its own field, because slowly it is also getting converted into magnet. And during that we will have two fields. One field is due to current which is passing through all the turns of the insulated copper wire with which that solenoid is wound. One field is established inside the solenoid because of a current, and another field is also produced inside the material because of conversion of this iron into magnet. And that net magnetic induction, that total magnetic induction inside the material, inside that iron, that is field established due to the external current is 1 plus field established due to the material itself. See how I have taken these two fields. This already we have discussed. Again, I am making you to remember this. This is a field inside the solenoid, mu naught H. This is a field inside the material, that is mu naught M. Where this M is intensity of a magnetization. Intensity of a magnetization, how is that defined? Intensity of a magnetization is magnetic dipole moment developed per unit volume. Okay, now net magnetic induction inside the material, total magnetic field inside the iron is equal to sum of two fields, mu naught into H plus M, magnetizing field intensity of this solenoid and intensity of a magnetization of this iron. Now we have plotted this B versus H. That graph obtained by plotting B versus H is called as a hysteresis graph or hysteresis curve or hysteresis loop. Okay, let us start magnetize this iron. Initially, in the beginning, make this current 0 through all the turns of the solenoid. I is equal to 0 in the beginning. No current is sent or no current is passed through the wire of the solenoid. Now there is no magnetic field inside the solenoid. When I is equal to 0, magnetic field inside the solenoid is also 0. If I start plotting graph, when I is equal to 0, H will be 0. Gradually, when I increase the current, this I, which is 0, I just start to increase this I value in terms of ampere. 1 ampere, 2 ampere, 10, 20, 30, 50, 60, 70, 100 ampere. 100 ampere per meter. As you go on increase the strength of the current, amount of the current, the strength of the magnetic field inside the solenoid also increases. As you increase the current, magnetizing field intensity also increases. See how we are taking that magnetizing field intensity, ampere per meter. Our solenoid, this might be of any length, either of 10 centimeter or of 1 meter or of 10 meter. But how much field is produced per meter? In 1 meter lengthy solenoid, how much intensive field is produced? That is ampere per meter. Now if I go on increase that ampere per meter, in 1 meter lengthy solenoid, how much current is increased? Depending upon that, H goes on increase. Now gradually when you increase the current, this H also increases. As this H is increased, magnetizing field intensity is increased, these molecules of the iron, ferromagnetic material, they also start to orient in one particular direction. Slowly, gradually, they all start to orient in one particular direction. It means now iron is getting magnetized. Slowly it becomes magnet. It means when you increase the H value, B also increases. Net magnetic induction, total magnetic field of the material, that also increases. As H increases, B also increases. like this. After reaching some 2 Tesla or nearby 2 Tesla, further if you go on increase the H value, say some 100 ampere per meter or 200 ampere per meter, on reaching one particular point, further if you go on increase the H, there won't be increase in the B. Further if I go on increase the H magnetizing field intensity, there won't be increase in the B. It means once if all the molecules are oriented in a one particular direction, if there is no such molecule is left inside the iron to orient further, if all the molecules are oriented, there is no single molecule or atom is left there to orient inside the material, then it reaches its saturation. As you go on increase the H value, at one particular point of H value, magnetizing field intensity, the net magnetic induction, it becomes a peak maximum. There onwards, further, even if you increase the H value by increasing the current, there won't be increase in the B, because already our iron is converted into magnet. Further, there is no any possible chance of getting converted into magnet, because all the molecules are already oriented. No molecule is random now. No molecule is in a random orientation. All are oriented in a one particular direction. The magnetic dipole moment, whatever is associated with this iron, that is reached already saturation. It is reached saturation. Further, if you increase the H, there won't be increase in the B. It is shown like this, saturation. Now what I do, already saturation is reached. There is no possible chance of getting conversion of iron into magnet. Already our iron is converted into magnet. Now what I start? Now I start decreasing current. I start decreasing current means, in other words, I start to decrease this magnetizing field intensity. As I start decreasing magnetizing field intensity by lowering the value of a current, which was 200 ampere per meter, now I start decreasing that 200 to 180, 170, 100 like that. Slowly, B value also decreases. Net magnetic induction, that also decreases, but there it is to be noticed, the curve that does not retrace, the graph that does not retrace, while increasing the net magnetic induction, whatever the path followed by the curve, the same path is not retraced. Even on lowering the H value, B value also decreases, but not in the same way what it is followed during its increment. It takes now different path like this. Actually, once after reaching OA, it has to retrace from A to O again on decreasing the magnetizing field intensity. But that is not seen here. It takes its own path. Decreases, definitely B value decreases on decreasing the H, but not in the same way. How it is increased from O to A, but it's not going to decrease from A to O. It takes its own path, like AB. Now I make that H value completely zero. Again, current value which is increased up to 200 ampere per meter. If you make it as a zero, even on making this magnetizing field intensity zero on decreasing H value, net magnetic induction will not be zero. Net magnetic induction, that won't be zero. What it means, how the molecules were there before sending the current, all the molecules again they have not come back to their original orientation. Some molecules which are oriented during the increment of the H, they are just as they are. They are not randomized. They are all not randomized. Only some of them are getting randomized in their orientation. Because of which some amount of magnetic induction is left in that. Some amount of magnetic induction is left in that. It means the iron which is converted into magnet, even on decreasing H value, we are not able to again reconvert that magnet into iron. Some amount of magnetism is left in that iron, even on making H value 0. On making H value is 0, some amount of magnetic induction is left in that iron. It means even after removal of magnetizing field, iron is going to sustain, it is going to retain some of its magnetism property. Even after removal of external field, it again starts to behave like a magnet by retaining, by sustaining some amount of magnetic induction. This much of magnetic induction is left out in that material. This is called as a retentivity or remanence. This is a remanence. This much, whatever is left inside the material, that is called as a remanence, or we can say residual magnetism. Remanence or residual magnetism, because it is left even after making magnetizing field intensity 0. The remanence or residual magnetism. This property of the material, because of which it can sustain or it can retain some amount of a magnetism even after magnetizing field intensity is made 0. That property or ability of the ferromagnetic material even after making H value 0 is called as a retentivity. What it is? Retentivity. An ability of a ferromagnetic material, because of which, due to which it can retain some amount of residual magnetism in it only even after making H is equal to 0. ಅಂದರೆ ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲಲ್ಲಿ ಐರನ್ನ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಗೆ ತಿಕ್ಕೋದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಅದನ್ನು ತಿಕ್ಕೋದು ಬಿಟ್ಬಿಟ್ರಿ, ತೆಗೆದುಬಿಟ್ರಿ, ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಪ್ರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ಅವಾಗೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಐರನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲ ತೆಗೆದು ರಬ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿಲ್ವಾ ಅಂತಂದು ಅದು ಐರನ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಐರನ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡಲ್ಲ. ಅದೇನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿರುತ್ತಾ, ಆ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಸಮ್ ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಉಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಟಾಂಚಿನೋ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ತೊಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಅಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ತಿಕ್ಕೋದು ಬಿಟ್ಟರು ಐರನ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಸಮ್ ಹಂಗೆ ಶೋ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ, ಎಕ್ಸಿಬಿಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಉಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದನ್ನು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ? Retentivity. That ability of the material due to which, because of which it can retain or sustain some amount of magnetism even after making H is equal to 0. That is called as a retentivity of a material. Now what I do, anyhow now even on making H value 0, it's not possible to bring that converted iron into its original position or original situation. That's why now to make that residual magnetism 0, I start increasing current in a reverse direction. Because iron magnetic convert ಆಗಿಬಿಟ್ಟೆ, ಅದು ದಿಕ್ಕಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟರು ಮತ್ತೆ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ನಾನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಐರನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಏನಾದರೂ ಉಳ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಲ್ಲ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಸಮ್, ಅದನ್ನು 0 ಮಾಡಬೇಕಂತ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನೀಗ, ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ತಿಕ್ಕಿದ್ರೆ ಈಗ ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ತಿಕ್ಕೋದು ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ, ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ರಫ್ ಆಗಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ. ಆದರೆ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕಲಿ ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ, ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಡೂ ಹಿಯರ್, whatever the amount of current which is sent so far to get convert this into magnet, that direction of the current is to be reversed. Now I start reversing the direction of the current. Again further I increase the current. On increasing current in reverse direction, earlier it was sent like this. Now I start sending current in reverse direction like this. Now I am applying reverse speed. When I start increasing reverse speed, that H value goes on increase again from 0 to 100 ampere per meter, 200 ampere per meter, like that. I go on increase H value, but in reverse direction like this. Slowly, as I increase the H value, magnetic induction, it becomes 0 at one particular magnetizing field intensity. B value, that becomes 0 on applying negative field, on applying reverse field. ಈಗ ಏನಾಗಿತ್ತು ಉಳಿದಿರೋ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ರೆಸಿಡ್ಯೂಯಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಸಮ್ ಎಚ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ನಾನು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾ ಹೋದರೆ ಆಪೋಸಿಟ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನಲ್ಲಿ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿರೋ ರೆಸಿಡ್ಯೂಯಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಸಮ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗ್ಕೊಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆಗ್ತಾ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಬಂದು ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಎಚ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಗೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದು 0 ಆಗ್ತದೆ. This reverse field, whatever is required to make residual magnetism 0, that field is called as a coercive field, OC. Now the path traced by the curve is B to C. This OC is a negative field. This is a negative magnetizing field. OC region. This is called as a coercive field. OC is a coercive field. Coercive field is a negative magnetic field or a negative magnetizing field intensity which is required to make the residual magnetism of a ferromagnetic material to 0. What is a coercive field? Coercive field is a negative magnetizing field which is required to make residual magnetism 0. That negative magnetizing field which is required to make the residual magnetism 0, remanence 0, is called as a coercive field, and the property of the material is called as a coercivity. The ability of the material because of which a negative field is to be applied to bring it back to its original situation is called as a coercivity. This much is coercive. Minus 100 ampere per meter or 150 per ampere per meter. I have taken for example. This is not of a particular value. This is what? Negative magnetizing field intensity. What for it is required? To make the residual magnetism to 0. Further, if I start continuing the increase the current in the same way, if I start increasing the value of the current, it reaches again a saturation, but in another direction, in opposite direction. I don't stop here. Okay, residual magnetism has become 0. By treating that residual magnetism 0, when I observe that residual magnetism, once it has gone to 0, I don't stop there increasing the current. Further I go on increasing the current in a same direction. When I go on increasing current or magnetizing field intensity, again B value increases. Again B value increases and it reaches again a saturation. Further increasing the H value, B value does not increase. It reaches saturation. It means earlier, if the iron, it could have been in this direction, north and south. Now its poles are reversed. It will become south. It will become a north. Got it? ಮತ್ತೆ ನಾನು ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಹಂಗೆ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. ಅವಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ರೆಸಿಡ್ಯೂಯಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಸಮ್ ಏನು ಉಳಿದಿತ್ತು ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಐರನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ, ಅದು 0 ಬಂತು. ಅದು 0 ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ನಾನು ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ನಿಲ್ಸಲ್ಲ, ಹಂಗೆ ಕರೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾನೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ. ಹಂಗೆ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಹೋದಂಗೆಲ್ಲ ಬಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ ಬಿ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ, ಟೋಟಲ್ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಇಂಡಕ್ಷನ್ ಇನ್ಸೈಡ್ ದಿ ಮೆಟೀರಿಯಲ್, ದಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಆನ್ increase. Again it reaches a peak value, a saturation value. But now the poles are changed. ಅಂದರೆ ಮೊದಲು ಐರನ್ದು ನಾರ್ತ್ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಸೌತ್ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಇತ್ತಂದರೆ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ ಅಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಸೌತ್ ಆ ಕಡೆ ನಾರ್ತ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಏನಾಯ್ತದು, ಮತ್ತೆ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟಿಕ್ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಆದರೆ ಮೊದಲಿನ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ಈಗ ರಿವರ್ಸ್ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಬೈ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಅಪೋನೆಂಟ್ ಪೋಲ್ಸ್. ಅಗೇನ್ ಇಟ್ ರೀಚಸ್ saturation. Now what I do, again I start decreasing the current or H value. It traces its own path. Again B value goes on decrease. in this region D to E, and I am decreasing. If you complete this process of decreasing H value and increasing H value, one complete magnetization. Now the loop or curve, it is followed like this from D to E, E to F, again F to A. See, again when you increase the H value, the same path, whatever is traced during its initial treatment, the same will not repeat. It follows different path now. Instead of moving from O to A, it traces now from F to A during its one complete magnetization. This is a cycle of magnetization. What we can see here, it can be seen that no path is retraced. The material is going to trace its own path, and this is the loop. This is the loop or area, closed area, when a ferromagnetic substance is subjected to an external field. This is called as a one complete cycle of magnetization. And this area under the hysteresis curve, the area under the hysteresis curve, it gives us hysteresis loss. And during this one complete cycle, some amount of energy is lost in the form of heat. That material gets hot and hot. Iron is getting hot, and some amount of energy is wasted in the form of heat energy. And that amount of heat energy, how much it is lost during one complete cycle of magnetization, is given by the area under this hysteresis curve. That is measured in terms of a joule per cubic meter. Energy lost per cycle of magnetization. In one cycle of magnetization, how much energy is lost, that is given by the area under hysteresis loop and is measured in terms of joule per cubic meter. See the terms, here the terms are important. What is hysteresis graph or hysteresis loop? That is nothing but the graph obtained by plotting magnetic induction of vector versus magnetizing field intensity. Then remanence or residual magnetism, that is a remanence or residual magnetism is the magnetism left inside the material even after making magnetizing field intensity 0. Then the retaintivity is an ability of the ferromagnetic material because of which it can retain some residual magnetism even H is made as a 0. Next, coercive field is a reverse magnetic field which is required to make residual magnetism a 0, and the ability or property associated with the ferromagnetic material is called as a coercivity. Now, hysteresis means, now come to this point. What we defined, that is hysteresis graph, hysteresis curve. Hysteresis means is the phenomena. Hysteresis is the phenomena of lagging behind in the middle, lagging behind of magnetic induction vector from magnetizing field intensity H vector. The phenomena of lagging behind of a magnetic induction vector from the magnetizing field intensity vector of a ferromagnetic material when it is subjected to one complete cycle of magnetization is called as a hysteresis. Got it? Hysteresis is a phenomena of lagging behind of B vector. Here it can be seen how B vector is lagging behind when it is compared with the H. Even we make H is equal to 0, B will have some value. When B will be 0, there will be some advanced H. All the time, throughout the one cycle of magnetization, if we go through the phenomena of lagging behind of a B vector from H vector of a ferromagnetic material when it is subjected to the one complete cycle of a magnetization is called as a hysteresis. And as I told you, during this process some amount of energy is wasted, that is in the form of heat energy, because during this cycle we are sending some current to make all the molecules of the iron to orient in a one particular direction, to magnetize it, again to demagnetize it. In this process some amount of energy is wasted, and that amount of energy, how much it is wasted, it can be taken as a hysteresis loss per cycle. The hysteresis loss per cycle is measured in terms of joule per cubic meter. Why do we need to study this hysteresis loop and hysteresis loss? We need to study this hysteresis of the ferromagnetic material so that we can choose the suitable material which is required to design a particular appliance, or to take the user advantage of the material. For example, in transformer we use ferromagnetic material, and to make permanent magnets we use certain materials, and to make the temporary magnets we have to make use of ferromagnetic material. Which ferromagnetic material is suitable to make the transformer? In transformer, the material ferromagnetic material which is called as a polymalloy. That polymalloy is the material which is used in the transformer, that is a ferromagnetic in nature. Its coercive period and retentivity. Once if we know the values of retentivity and coercivity, we can choose a suitable material. Which material is suitable for the transformer, which material is suitable for to make the permanent magnets, which material is suitable to make the temporary magnets. Permanent magnets are made up of two types of alloys, like Ticonol and Alnico. Alnico, an alloy of aluminium, nickel, cobalt. That's why it's called as Alnico. And Ticonol, that is also made up of some 2 or 3 metals, which is an alloy. Ticonol, aluminium, cobalt, nickel, and I think antimony or Ti, selenium, something is there. By mixing them in a suitable ratio, these alloys are used. Ticonol and Alnico are used to make the permanent magnets, use permanent bar magnets. Electromagnet is a temporary magnet, and soft iron is used for temporary magnets to make the electromagnets. Soft iron is used because its coercive field is less easily, as in when you remove the external field, it's automatically all of a sudden, as and when you remove in the next movement itself, it's converted into iron. That's why it is used to make a temporary magnet or electromagnet. And similarly, even in transformer, I already told you that alloy is used to make the transformers depending upon its coercivity and resonance or retentivity. And to choose the materials which are required for particular purpose, this hysteresis will help us. Okay, remember this graph. Most of the times it is asked. To remember this graph, students will get confused with these notations. We have to be clear while plotting the graph itself. Look at this H, how it looks like this. Here only it comes H along the x-axis. While plotting the graph, we have to be careful. Anyhow, we are drawing quadrant there, Cartesian coordinates, that extend that H, that itself along the x-axis it will come, magnetizing field intensity, and here it is a P along the y-axis, because what I have seen, many students will take H along y and B along x. It should not happen. For that sake, I am telling you to remember easily. Either you can take B vector along y axis or n vector. B means net magnetic induction, M means intensity of a magnetization. During discussion of these terms only I have made clear that magnetizing intensity related to the source, intensity of a magnetization related to the substance. Magnetizing field intensity means of this solenoid, intensity of a magnetization means of that iron. That is of material, this is of the source. Don't get confused with these terms which look like the same, but there is a difference. That lagging behind of this B or a M vector from the H, whenever a ferromagnetic metal is subjected to the one complete cycle of magnetization, is called as a hysteresis. It does not remember its history, what it was. That's the hysteresis. You don't remember your history, what you were and what you are now. That is a hysteresis. All the time it follows a different path. Once if you make that material to undergo one magnetization, again if you go with the another cycle of magnetization, again you may not get the same repeated regular path. It depends upon its previous treatment, how that was treated, now how it is treated, how it is going to be treated. That's why it is called as a hysteresis. It cannot remember the previous treatment or history. Okay. Some terms, definitions and examples have to be given, that I try in my next session already.